Hello, dear friends. It's wonderful to have you here with me tonight. Welcome back to our cozy corner of history, where we explore the past in gentle whispers. I'm so glad you've joined me for another soothing journey through time. If you'd like to support our sleepy adventures, you can find my Patreon link in the description, where you'll gain access to ad-free versions of all our historical lullabies. Tonight, we'll be delving into the story of the Spanish flu, a global pandemic that swept across the world in the early 20th century. We'll explore its origins, its impact, and the aftermath that shaped our modern understanding of infectious diseases. But don't worry, we'll approach this topic with care and gentleness, ensuring a peaceful and relaxing experience. Before we begin our historical journey, let's take a moment to settle in and find comfort. Find a cozy spot, whether it's your bed, soft chair, or wherever you feel most at ease. Take a deep breath in, feeling the air fill your lungs, and then slowly exhale, releasing any tension or worries from your day. Allow your body to sink deeper into relaxation with each breath. Imagine yourself in the year 1918. The world is weary from the Great War, and a sense of change hangs in the air. In a small military camp in Kansas, a young soldier named Albert Gitchell wakes up feeling unwell. Little does he know, he's about to become the first recorded case of what will soon be known as the Spanish flu. Picture the crisp morning air, the sounds of a bustling camp, and the uncertainty of what lies ahead. As we explore the origins and aftermath of the Spanish flu, we'll do so in a calm and measured way. We'll learn about the brave doctors and nurses who fought against this invisible enemy, the communities that came together in times of crisis, and the scientific advancements that arose from this challenging period. So, let your mind drift back in time as we uncover this important chapter in human history, all while helping you drift peacefully off to sleep. Imagine the gentle rustling of leaves in an ancient forest, a serene backdrop to our exploration of a significant chapter in human history, the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. This event, often overshadowed by the tumult of World War I, quietly yet profoundly reshaped the world. As we delve into its origins and aftermath, let us tread softly through the corridors of time, uncovering the whispers of the past that still echo today. Our journey begins in the spring of 1918, a time when the world was already weary from the ravages of war. The Spanish flu, a misnomer in itself, emerged not from Spain but likely from the crowded military camps of the United States or Europe. Spain, neutral and free from wartime censorship, was among the first to report on the outbreak, thus lending its name to the pandemic. Can you imagine the surprise of a world already in turmoil, now facing an invisible adversary that knew no borders? As the virus spread its wings, it traveled swiftly across the globe, carried by the winds of war and the movement of troops. The first wave was mild, a gentle ripple in the vast ocean of global events. Yet, by the summer, a more virulent strain emerged, like a storm gathering strength. This second wave was relentless, sweeping through communities with a ferocity that left few untouched. Picture the quiet streets of a small town, suddenly bustling with the activity of makeshift hospitals and the hushed tones of worried families. The Spanish flu was unlike any other influenza seen before. It struck with a peculiar intensity, targeting not the very young or the elderly, but healthy adults in the prime of their lives. This unusual pattern of mortality puzzled scientists and doctors alike. Imagine the bewilderment of a world where the strong and vibrant were suddenly laid low, where the familiar rhythms of life were disrupted by the relentless march of illness. Globally, the impact was profound. In the United States alone, hundreds of thousands succumbed to the virus. Across the oceans, in India, millions more were lost, their stories woven into the fabric of a nation, already grappling with colonial rule and social change. The pandemic reached even the most remote corners of the world, from the bustling streets of New York to the tranquil shores of Samoa. It was a reminder of our interconnectedness, a gentle yet firm nudge that we are all part of a larger tapestry. In the absence of vaccines or effective treatments, communities turned to simple yet powerful measures to combat the spread of the virus. Isolation, quarantine, and good hygiene became the watchwords of the day. Schools and theaters closed their doors, and public gatherings were curtailed. Picture a world where the usual hustle and bustle gave way to a quieter, more introspective pace, where the simple act of wearing a mask became a symbol of solidarity and care. The social and economic impacts were significant, yet they unfolded with a quiet inevitability. Cities struggled to cope with the sheer number of deaths, leading to shortages of undertakers and grave diggers. Businesses closed, and trade was disrupted, yet amidst the chaos, there was a sense of resilience and community. Nurses, often unsung heroes, stepped forward, providing care and comfort to the sick, their dedication a beacon of hope in a time of uncertainty. As we reflect on this chapter of history, we are reminded of the lessons learned. The Spanish flu taught us the importance of preparedness and the power of collective action. It highlighted the need for ongoing research and the development of vaccines and treatments. But perhaps most importantly, it underscored the resilience of the human spirit, our ability to adapt and overcome even the most daunting challenges. The pandemic also had profound implications for public health policy. In its wake, many countries began to recognize the necessity of establishing health systems capable of responding to such crises. The establishment of organizations like the World Health Organization in the years that followed can be traced back to the lessons learned during this tumultuous time. Imagine a world where the importance of global health cooperation became a priority, where nations began to understand that infectious diseases do not respect borders. In addition to public health, Spanish flu influenced social behaviors and cultural norms. The experience of widespread illness and loss led to a shift in how communities interacted. People became more aware of the fragility of life, leading to a greater appreciation for health and well-being. The arts, too, were affected. Literature and music from this era often reflected themes of loss, resilience, and the search for meaning in the face of adversity. Picture the poignant poetry and haunting melodies that emerged, capturing the collective grief and hope of a generation. Moreover, the economic ramifications of the Spanish flu were felt for years to come. Industries faced labor shortages as workers fell ill or succumbed to the virus, leading to shifts in employment patterns. The pandemic accelerated changes in labor rights and workplace safety as the need for better working conditions became apparent. Imagine the conversations that took place in boardrooms and factories, where the health of workers became a central concern, paving the way for future labor reforms. As we delve deeper into the aftermath of the Spanish flu, we must also consider its impact on science and medicine. The pandemic spurred advancements in virology and epidemiology as researchers sought to understand the virus and its effects. The urgency of the situation led to increased funding for medical research, laying the groundwork for future breakthroughs in vaccine development. Picture the laboratories buzzing with activity, scientists working tirelessly to unlock the mysteries of infectious diseases, driven by the lessons learned from the Spanish flu. The the Spanish flu also had a significant impact on the way we view public health communication. The pandemic highlighted the importance of clear and accurate information dissemination. Misinformation and fear often spread as rapidly as the virus itself, leading to confusion and panic. In response, health officials began to recognize the need for effective communication strategies to inform the public about health risks and preventive measures. Imagine a world where the clarity of information became paramount, shaping the way health messages are crafted and delivered in times of crisis. In the realm of education, the pandemic forced a reevaluation of how learning was conducted. With schools closed for extended periods, educators and students alike had to adapt to new methods of teaching and learning. The rise of distance education and the use of technology in classrooms can trace their roots back to this period of disruption. Picture classrooms transformed, where the traditional chalkboard was replaced by virtual platforms, and students learned from the safety of their homes, precursor to the digital age of education we see today. Furthermore, the Spanish flu left an indelible mark on the field of psychology. The collective trauma experienced during the pandemic led to a greater understanding of mental health issues. As communities mourned their losses and grappled with the fear of illness, the importance of mental well-being became increasingly recognized. Imagine the conversations that began to take place around mental health, paving the way for future advocacy and support systems that prioritize emotional resilience and psychological care. As we continue to explore the legacy of the Spanish flu, we must also acknowledge its role in shaping global health initiatives. The lessons learned from the pandemic prompted countries to invest in public health infrastructure and disease surveillance systems. The establishment of global health networks aimed at monitoring and responding to infectious diseases can be traced back to the experiences of 1918. Picture a world where nations collaborate to share data and resources, united in the fight against future pandemics. In conclusion, the Spanish flu was a silent storm that swept across the world, leaving a lasting legacy. Its origins, spread, and aftermath offer valuable insights into the nature of pandemics and the importance of vigilance and preparedness. As we continue to navigate the complexities of our modern world, let us carry forward the lessons of the past, ensuring that we are better equipped to face the challenges of the future. Imagine the gentle rustling of leaves once more, a reminder of the enduring cycle of life and the quiet strength that lies within us all. The echoes of the Spanish flu remind us that while history may be marked by suffering, it is also a testament to human resilience, innovation, and the unyielding spirit of community. The Spanish flu, though a harrowing chapter, ultimately serves as a beacon of hope, guiding us toward a future where we can confront adversity with courage and unity. Imagine, if you will, the gentle rustling of leaves in an ancient forest, a serene backdrop to our exploration of a time when the world was quietly, yet profoundly, changed by an unseen force. We journey back to the years of 1918 and 1919, a period marked by the emergence and global spread of the Spanish flu, a pandemic that touched nearly every corner of the globe. In this chapter, we will gently unravel the origins and the pathways through which this virus traveled, leaving an indelible mark on history. Let us begin our story with the origins of the Spanish flu, a tale shrouded in mystery and debate. While the exact birthplace of the virus remains uncertain, many historians and scientists suggest that it may have originated in China, a land of ancient traditions and bustling trade routes. In the early months of 1918, the virus underwent a rare genetic shift, giving rise to a new strain of the influenza A virus, known as H1N1. This transformation set the stage for a pandemic that would soon ripple across the world. In the spring of 1918, the first whispers of the Spanish flu were heard in Kansas, USA, and in military camps scattered throughout the United States. These early outbreaks, like the gentle ripples on a pond, went largely unnoticed, overshadowed by the thunderous events of World War I. The world was preoccupied with the clamor of war, and the quiet spread of the virus was but a faint echo in the background. As the virus began its journey, it found willing carriers in the form of soldiers, moving with them as they traveled from one place to another. By the summer of 1918, the flu had reached the bustling port of Boston, a gateway to the East Coast, where ships laden with war supplies came and went. The virus, like a silent passenger, traveled these routes, spreading its influence far and wide. The Spanish flu did not linger long in the United States. It embarked on a global voyage, following the intricate web of trade routes and shipping lines that connected the world. From North America to Europe, Asia, Africa, Brazil, and the South Pacific, the virus journeyed, touching the lives of millions. In Europe, it spread rapidly, weaving its way through the fabric of military operations during the Great War. By the spring of 1918, a significant portion of French and British troops had succumbed to the illness, a testament to the virus's relentless march. The pandemic's journey continued, reaching North Africa in May, Bombay in June, and China by July. It was as if the virus was tracing a map of human connections, moving from one community to the next. In August, the flu reached the shores of Australia, a land of vast landscapes and diverse cultures, marking yet another chapter in its global spread. As the summer of 1918 waned, a second wave of the pandemic emerged, more virulent and deadly than the first. This wave, likely born from a mutated strain of the virus, traveled from the port city of Plymouth in England to distant lands such as Freetown in Sierra Leone and Boston in the United States. From these points, spread rapidly, carried by the movements of armies and the currents of war. In Asia and Africa, the second wave swept through with a quiet ferocity, reaching nearly all of Europe by the end of September. From Russia, the epidemic spread across northern Asia, touching India in September and China in October. In New York, the epidemic was declared over by early November, yet in Europe it lingered, exacerbated by the shortages of food and fuel that the war had wrought. Several factors contributed to the swift and widespread dissemination of the Spanish flu. The mass mobilization of troops during World War I played a significant role, as soldiers carried the virus with them, unknowingly spreading it to new regions. The global network of trade routes and shipping lines acted as conduits for the virus, allowing it to traverse great distances with ease. War-related activities, such as the gathering of soldiers in camps and hospitals, created environments ripe for the spread of infection. Even the climate, with its varying levels of humidity, influenced the severity of outbreaks, as higher humidity levels fostered the spread of the virus. The demographic impact of the Spanish flu was unique and unexpected. Unlike typical influenza outbreaks, which primarily affect the elderly and young children, the Spanish flu was most deadly for individuals aged 20 to 40. This unusual pattern of morbidity contributed to the high mortality rate, leaving a profound impact on communities around the world. The loss of a significant portion of the working-age population had lasting effects on economies and societies, as families were torn apart and communities struggled to cope with the sudden absence of their members. The socioeconomic consequences of the pandemic were significant, particularly during the tumultuous years of World War I. The flu disrupted military operations, causing widespread illness and death among soldiers, weakening military forces, and leading to shortages of essential resources such as food and fuel. This added strain to an already dire situation as nations grappled with the challenges of war and disease. The pandemic also exacerbated existing social inequalities, as marginalized communities often faced higher rates of infection and mortality, revealing the deep-seated disparities in healthcare access and living conditions. In the face of this unprecedented crisis, public health responses were limited. There were no effective treatments or widespread prevention methods available at the time. Healthcare providers relied on observing signs and symptoms to diagnose the disease, as diagnostic tests were not yet developed. Communities implemented various measures to curb the spread of the virus, including quarantines, the closure of public spaces, and the use of gauze masks. These efforts, though well-intentioned, were often insufficient to halt the virus's relentless advance. The Spanish flu pandemic offered valuable lessons for future public health responses. It underscored the importance of surveillance, early detection, and swift action to contain outbreaks. The lack of effective treatments and vaccines highlighted the need for continued research and development in the field of infectious diseases. These lessons have been instrumental in shaping responses to subsequent pandemics, including the COVID-19 pandemic, as the world strives to mitigate the impact of such global health crises. The historical context of the Spanish flu adds another layer to our understanding of this pandemic. It occurred during a time of great global upheaval, as World War I raged on, and the world experienced significant social, economic, and political changes. The pandemic added complexity to an already challenging period, further straining resources and morale. The war had already created a backdrop of fear and uncertainty, and the arrival of the flu only intensified these feelings, leading to widespread panic and anxiety among populations already weary from conflict. As we gently conclude our exploration of the origins and global spread of the Spanish flu, let us reflect on the profound impact this pandemic had on the world. Its origins in China and rapid spread across the globe were facilitated by the movements of troops, trade routes, and war-related activities. The unique demographic impact and lack of effective treatments contributed to its devastating consequences. Yet, from this challenging chapter in history, valuable lessons emerged, guiding public health responses to future pandemics and reminding us of the interconnectedness of our world. The Spanish flu serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of human health and the importance of global cooperation in the face of such threats. As we navigate our own health crises today, we must remember the past and strive to build a more resilient future, one that prioritizes the health and well-being of all individuals, regardless of their circumstances. Moreover, the Spanish flu's legacy extends beyond immediate health impacts. It reshaped public health policies and practices worldwide. In the aftermath of the pandemic, many countries began to invest more heavily in public health infrastructure, recognizing the need for better preparedness against future outbreaks. This included the establishment of health departments, improved sanitation practices, and the promotion of vaccination programs, which would become crucial in combating infectious diseases in the decades to follow. The pandemic also influenced cultural and social dynamics. The collective trauma experienced during the Spanish flu led to a greater awareness of mental health issues as communities grappled with grief and loss. Art, literature, and music from this period often reflect themes of mortality and resilience, capturing the spirit of a world forever altered by the pandemic. The shared experience of suffering and survival fostered a sense of solidarity among people, transcending borders and cultures. In addition, Spanish flu highlighted the importance of accurate information dissemination. Misinformation and fear often exacerbated the crisis, leading to stigmatization of those infected and creating barriers to effective public health measures. This experience has informed modern communication strategies during health crises, emphasizing the need for clear, transparent, and timely information to guide public behavior and foster trust in health authorities. As we reflect on the origins and global spread of the Spanish flu, we are reminded of the intricate web of human connections that facilitated its journey. The pandemic serves as a historical lens through which we can examine our current global health landscape, urging us to remain vigilant and proactive in our efforts to safeguard public health. The lessons learned from this devastating chapter in history continue to resonate today, reminding us that in the face of adversity, unity, compassion, and resilience are our greatest allies. In conclusion, the Spanish flu was not merely a health crisis. It was a transformative event that reshaped societies, economies, and public health systems. As we move forward, let us carry the lessons of the past with us, ensuring that we are better prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. The interconnectedness of our world demands a collective response to health threats, fostering a spirit of collaboration and understanding that transcends borders. Together, we can build a healthier, more resilient future for all. Imagine, if you will, the gentle rustling of leaves in an ancient forest, a serene backdrop to our exploration of a time when the world faced a silent and invisible adversary. The Spanish flu, pandemic that swept across the globe in 1918, left an indelible mark on society and health. As we delve into its impact, let us tread softly through the corridors of history, uncovering the profound changes it wrought on our world. Let us begin by considering the origins of this formidable virus. The Spanish flu, caused by an H1N1 influenza A virus, emerged mysteriously, its birthplace still a subject of debate. Some suggest it began in the United States, while others point to France. The name Spanish flu arose not from its origin, but from the openness of Spanish media, which reported on the outbreak without censorship, unlike other nations embroiled in World War I. This openness led to a widespread misconception, a gentle reminder of how information shapes our understanding. As the virus spread its wings, it traveled swiftly across continents, touching the lives of an estimated 500 million people, about 1/3 of the world's population at that time. Imagine the quiet yet relentless march of the virus, facilitated by the movement of soldiers during the Great War. These young men, stationed in close quarters, unknowingly became carriers, spreading the virus as they moved from one place to another. The war, with its increased travel and communication, acted as a conduit, accelerating the virus's journey across the globe. In the midst of this global upheaval, the Spanish flu revealed its peculiar nature. Unlike typical influenza outbreaks, it struck hardest at young, healthy adults. Picture, if you will, the robust immune systems of these individuals overreacting to the virus in what is known as a cytokine storm. This overreaction led to severe illness and death, a cruel irony that spared many older adults and those with weaker immune systems. Yet, the virus did not discriminate entirely. Children under 5 also suffered greatly, underscoring the vulnerability of the young and the importance of protective measures. The societal impact of the Spanish flu was profound, a gentle yet firm reminder of the fragility of daily life. Cities and towns, in an effort to curb the spread, implemented public health measures that disrupted the rhythm of everyday existence. Imagine the quiet streets, the muffled sounds of life under lockdown as people donned masks and practiced social distancing. These measures, often enforced through martial law, added to the sense of unease, a world turned upside down by an invisible foe. Economically, the pandemic compounded the challenges of a world already reeling from war. Businesses closed their doors, leading to widespread unemployment and hardship. The disruption of supply chains and trade resulted in food shortages, a stark reminder of our interconnectedness and the delicate balance of global economies. Yet, amidst this turmoil, seeds of resilience were sown as communities came together to support one another, finding strength in unity. The response of health systems to the Spanish flu was, by today's standards, inadequate. Picture overwhelmed hospitals, corridors filled with the sick, as medical professionals struggled to provide care. With limited resources, the absence of effective treatments and vaccines left many to suffer in silence, a poignant reminder of the importance of preparedness and investment in health infrastructure. From the ashes of this pandemic, however, rose a new dawn for public health. The Spanish flu acted as a catalyst for the establishment of modern health systems. Countries began to invest in robust public health infrastructure, creating health departments, developing vaccination programs, and implementing disease surveillance systems. These advancements laid the groundwork for future responses to pandemics, including the recent COVID-19 crisis, highlighting the enduring legacy of the Spanish flu. The lessons learned from this pandemic are as relevant today as they were a century ago. The need for global cooperation in addressing pandemics is paramount, as the virus's rapid spread demonstrated our interconnectedness. Investing in public health infrastructure remains crucial, as does addressing the social determinants of health that can exacerbate disparities during crises. The Spanish flu taught us the importance of preparedness, resilience, and the power of collective action. As we reflect on the societal impact, we must also consider the psychological toll the Spanish flu took on communities. The fear of contagion led to social isolation, as families were torn apart by illness and death. Imagine the heart-wrenching scenes of loved ones unable to say goodbye, the emotional scars left on those who survived. Mental health, often overlooked in times of crisis, became a silent casualty of the pandemic. The stigma surrounding the illness further compounded the suffering, as communities grappled with loss and fear. In the wake of the pandemic, the arts and culture also felt the reverberations of the Spanish flu. Theaters and concert halls closed their doors, and public gatherings were curtailed, leading to a cultural shift. Artists and performers adapted, finding new ways to express the collective grief and resilience of society. This period saw the emergence of new artistic movements, as creators sought to capture the essence of a world forever changed. The literature of the time reflected themes of loss, survival, and the quest for meaning in a chaotic world. Moreover, Spanish flu had a lasting impact on gender roles within society. As men went off to war, women stepped into roles traditionally held by men, taking on jobs in factories, hospitals, and other essential services. This shift not only challenged societal norms, but also laid the groundwork for future movements advocating for women's rights and equality. The pandemic served as a catalyst for change, highlighting the capabilities of women in the workforce and their vital contributions to society. As we navigate the complexities of the Spanish flu's legacy, we must also acknowledge the advancements in medical science that emerged from this crisis. The urgency of the pandemic spurred research into virology and epidemiology, leading to a deeper understanding of infectious diseases. The establishment of the World Health Organization in 1948 can be traced back to the lessons learned during this tumultuous time, emphasizing the need for global health governance and collaboration. The Spanish flu also highlighted the importance of communication in public health. Misinformation and fear can spread as rapidly as a virus, and the pandemic underscored the necessity for clear, accurate information dissemination. Public health campaigns emerged, educating communities about hygiene practices, the importance of vaccination, and the need for collective action. These lessons remain vital today as we continue to combat misinformation in our modern world. As we conclude our gentle journey through the impact of the Spanish flu, let us carry forward the lessons it imparted. This pandemic, with its profound effects on society and health, serves as a reminder of the importance of vigilance and cooperation. By understanding its legacy, we are better equipped to face future challenges, ensuring a healthier and more resilient world for generations to come. Imagine, if you will, a world where the lessons of the past guide us toward a brighter, more harmonious future. In this world, we honor the memories of those lost, the sacrifices made, and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. In addition to the immediate effects on health and society, the Spanish flu also had long-term implications for public health policy and the way governments respond to health crises. The pandemic prompted many nations to rethink their health strategies, leading to the establishment of more comprehensive health policies that prioritize disease prevention and health promotion. Countries began to recognize the importance of having a coordinated response to health emergencies, which included not only medical care, but also social support systems to help those affected. The Spanish flu also served as a stark reminder of the importance of scientific research and innovation in combating infectious diseases. The pandemic highlighted the need for ongoing research into vaccines and antiviral treatments, which has become a cornerstone of modern public health. The lessons learned during this time laid the groundwork for the rapid development of vaccines in response to future pandemics, including the swift creation of COVID-19 vaccines, showcasing the advancements in technology and science that have occurred over the past century. Furthermore, the Spanish flu's impact on global travel and trade cannot be understated. The pandemic led to significant changes in how countries manage borders and travel during health crises. Quarantine measures became more common, and international health regulations were established to prevent the spread of diseases across borders. This shift in policy reflects a growing understanding of the interconnectedness of our world and the need for collaborative efforts in managing public health threats. The pandemic also influenced urban planning and public health infrastructure. Cities began to prioritize the design of healthier living environments, incorporating green spaces, better ventilation in buildings, and improved sanitation facilities. These changes aimed to reduce the spread of diseases and promote overall well-being, demonstrating how public health crises can lead to positive transformations in urban development. As we reflect on the Spanish flu, we must also acknowledge the role of community organizations and grassroots movements in addressing the challenges posed by the pandemic. Local groups mobilized to provide support to those in need, whether through food distribution, healthcare services, or emotional support. This spirit of community resilience and solidarity became a hallmark of the response to the Spanish flu, reminding us of the power of collective action in times of crisis. In conclusion, the Spanish flu was not just a moment in history, it was a turning point that reshaped our understanding of public health, society, and the human experience. The lessons learned from this pandemic continue to resonate today, guiding our responses to current and future health challenges. As we honor the memories of those who suffered and lost their lives, we also celebrate the resilience and adaptability of humanity in the face of adversity. Let us carry these lessons forward, ensuring that we remain vigilant, compassionate, and united in our efforts to create a healthier world for all. Imagine a world, over a century ago, where the gentle hum of daily life was suddenly interrupted by an invisible adversary. The year was 1918, and the world was grappling with the Spanish flu pandemic, a formidable challenge that swept across continents with a silent, yet relentless force. In this chapter, we will explore the calm yet determined measures and responses that communities and public health authorities employed to combat this global crisis. Let us gently delve into the strategies that were implemented, the lessons learned, and the quiet resilience of those who faced this unprecedented challenge. As the pandemic unfolded, one of the first measures taken was social distancing and isolation. Imagine the quiet streets of cities like St. Paul and Minneapolis, where schools, theaters, and churches closed their doors to the public. The absence of bustling crowds was a deliberate choice to slow the spread of the virus. Infected individuals were gently isolated in their homes, a practice that proved particularly effective in cities like St. Louis. Here, a soft murmur of family life continued behind closed doors as communities worked together to protect one another. This collective effort was not just about physical distance. It was a profound expression of care and responsibility towards fellow citizens. Hygiene and sanitation became a cornerstone of public health efforts. Picture the simple act of washing hands, a ritual emphasized by health officials through educational programs and posters. This practice, though seemingly small, was a powerful tool in the fight against the virus. Bedding and rooms were periodically disinfected, and in naval ambulance trains, a gentle antiseptic solution was used to maintain cleanliness. These measures, though modest, were vital in creating a safer environment for all. The importance of cleanliness extended beyond personal hygiene. Public spaces were also regularly sanitized, with city workers tasked with disinfecting streets and public transport. To minimize the risk of transmission, ventilation and fresh air were also prioritized. Imagine the cool breeze flowing through open windows and streetcars, a regulation implemented to ensure fresh air circulated among passengers. In cities like Minneapolis and St. Paul, the number of passengers was limited, creating a more spacious and airy atmosphere. This simple yet effective measure helped to reduce the risk of transmission, allowing people to travel with a sense of calm and security. Public health officials understood that the virus thrived in closed, stuffy environments, and thus they encouraged outdoor activities whenever possible, promoting parks and open spaces as safe havens for families seeking respite from the confines of their homes. The use of face masks became a familiar sight as public health authorities recommended their use to cover the nose and mouth. Directions for wearing masks were issued, with a gentle reminder to mark the outside with a black thread, and to boil and disinfect them after use. Alongside this, education programs on respiratory hygiene were initiated, encouraging people to be mindful of coughing, sneezing, and the disposal of nasal discharges. These efforts, though understated, played a crucial role in protecting communities. In some cities, mask wearing became a civic duty, with citizens taking pride in their compliance, often organizing mask-making events to ensure that everyone had access to this essential protective gear. community responses were equally important in addressing the pandemic. In St. Paul, Citizens Committee was formed, consisting of physicians, church leaders, and community members. This committee recommended the closure of public places, a decision that led to a significant decline in new cases. The gentle cooperation of the community was a testament to the power of collective action in the face of adversity. Local organizations mobilized to provide support for those in need, delivering food and supplies to families affected by the virus. This spirit of solidarity was evident in many towns, where neighbors looked out for one another, embodying the essence of community resilience. Public compliance with health measures varied, with some cities enforcing rules through fines and penalties. In San Francisco, health officers took a firm stance, while in Arizona, police handed out fines to those without protective gear. Despite these measures, the spirit of community cooperation remained strong as people came together to support one another through challenging times. In some areas, volunteers emerged to assist in enforcing health guidelines, helping to educate the public about the importance of compliance and the collective responsibility to protect vulnerable populations. The economic impact of the pandemic was significant, with businesses, schools, and restaurants closing their doors. Yet, these closures were deemed necessary to prevent further spread of the virus. The quiet resilience of communities shone through as people adapted to new ways of living and working, finding strength in unity and shared purpose. Many businesses pivoted to provide essential services, such as grocery delivery and takeout meals, ensuring that communities had access to necessary supplies, while minimizing contact. This adaptability showcased the innovative spirit of the time, as individuals and businesses alike sought to navigate the challenges posed by the pandemic. In the realm of medical responses, diagnostic techniques were employed to identify and understand the disease. Physicians used basic clinical guidelines, monitoring temperature and pulse rate, while chest X-rays and blood tests provided further insights. Though limited by the medical knowledge of the time, these efforts were a testament to the dedication of healthcare professionals. The urgency of the situation led to a rapid exchange of information among medical practitioners as they shared findings and treatment outcomes, fostering a collaborative approach to tackling the crisis. Treatment for influenza patients was largely symptomatic, with remedies such as aspirin used to reduce fever and pain. For those with secondary pneumonia, epinephrine and oxygen were administered. Experimental treatments, including convalescent serum, were also explored as physicians sought to harness the body's natural defenses to combat the virus. The medical community's commitment to finding effective treatments was evident as they conducted trials and documented outcomes, laying the groundwork for future advancements in influenza care. The public health infrastructure played a crucial role in coordinating responses to the pandemic. Government coordination and communication were essential in implementing effective measures, while hospital surge capacity was maximized to accommodate the growing number of patients. The safety of healthcare workers was a significant concern, as many fell ill or died while bravely assisting in the fight against the pandemic. Efforts were made to provide adequate protective equipment, though shortages were common, highlighting the need for better preparedness in future health crises. Vaccination campaigns, though limited by the scientific understanding of the time, were pursued with hope and determination. Experimental vaccines were tested and administered, laying the groundwork for future advancements in vaccine development. These efforts, though modest, reflected a commitment to exploring all possible avenues in the quest to protect public health. The experience gained from these early vaccination efforts would inform future public health initiatives, emphasizing the importance of research and development in combating infectious diseases. The lessons learned from the 1918 pandemic are numerous and profound. The importance of planning and coordination across all levels of government was highlighted, as was the need for clear communication with the public. Educating communities about health measures and providing support to those in isolation were crucial in fostering cooperation and understanding. The pandemic underscored the necessity of having a robust public health infrastructure capable of responding swiftly to emerging health threats. Balancing isolation with care was another key lesson, as the public health benefits of isolation needed to be weighed against the potential fear and reluctance to seek care. Generous employer support and the provision of essential services helped to mitigate these concerns, ensuring that people felt supported and cared for during difficult times. The emotional toll of the pandemic was significant, and communities recognized the importance of mental health support, leading to initiatives aimed at providing counseling and resources for those struggling with anxiety and grief. In addition to these measures, the role of communication in public health responses cannot be overstated. Health officials utilized newspapers, pamphlets, and public announcements to disseminate information about the virus and the importance of compliance with health measures. This proactive approach to communication helped to foster a sense of trust and transparency between authorities and the public. The media played a crucial role in shaping public perception, often highlighting stories of resilience and community support, which served to uplift spirits during challenging times. Moreover, the pandemic prompted a reevaluation of healthcare systems and their capacity to handle crises. The experiences of 1918 led to significant reforms in public health policies, emphasizing the need for better preparedness and response strategies for future pandemics. The establishment of health departments and the implementation of surveillance systems became essential components of public health infrastructure, ensuring that communities would be better equipped to face similar challenges in the future. As we reflect on the measures and responses to the Spanish flu, it is essential to recognize the role of science and research in shaping public health strategies. The pandemic spurred advancements in virology and epidemiology, leading to a deeper understanding of infectious diseases. This knowledge would pave the way for future breakthroughs in vaccine development and treatment protocols, ultimately saving countless lives in subsequent health crises. In conclusion, the measures and responses to the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic demonstrate a comprehensive approach to public health, despite the limited medical understanding at the time. These strategies, including social distancing, hygiene practices, and community cooperation, laid the groundwork for modern pandemic response strategies. Understanding these historical responses can provide valuable insights into effective measures for future pandemics. As we reflect on this chapter of history, let us carry forward the lessons of resilience, cooperation, and hope as we continue to navigate the challenges of our own time. The echoes of the past remind us that, together, we can face adversity with strength and compassion, ensuring that we emerge from crises not just as survivors, but as a united community ready to support one another. Imagine the gentle rustling of leaves in an ancient forest, a serene reminder of the passage of time and the resilience of nature. In a similar way, the world has weathered many storms, one of which was the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 to 1919. This chapter explores the aftermath and long-term effects of this significant event, a time when the world was both shaken and reshaped, leaving ripples that extended far beyond the immediate crisis. Let us first consider the impact on social trust, a delicate thread that weaves communities together. The Spanish flu, with its vast reach and devastating consequences, left a mark on the fabric of society. During the pandemic, the failure of healthcare systems to contain the virus led to a decline in social trust. Imagine the uncertainty and fear that gripped communities as they faced an invisible enemy, one that moved swiftly and unpredictably. This environment of fear and mistrust lingered, influencing the behavior of future generations. Descendants of survivors, particularly those who migrated to new lands, carried with them a legacy of caution and wariness, a subtle echo of their ancestors' experiences. The erosion of social trust was not limited to personal relationships. It extended to institutions as well. Governments and health organizations faced scrutiny for their handling of the crisis, leading to a skepticism that would shape public perception for decades. This skepticism manifested in various ways, from reluctance to follow public health guidelines in subsequent outbreaks, to a general distrust of medical authorities. The lessons learned from the Spanish flu would later inform responses to other health crises, including the polio epidemic and the HIV/AIDS crisis, as communities grappled with the balance between trust and caution. As we gently transition to the psychological impact, we find that the Spanish flu left deep emotional scars on those who lived through it. The sudden loss of loved ones and the disruption of daily life led to a range of mental health challenges. Survivors reported feelings of depression, anxiety, and a pervasive sense of unease. Imagine the quiet solitude of a room where someone sits, lost in thought, grappling with the weight of grief and uncertainty. Historical records reveal an increase in mental disorders in the years following the pandemic, a testament to the enduring psychological toll. The pandemic also coincided with the mysterious outbreak of encephalitis lethargica, a neurological disorder that added another layer of complexity to the mental health landscape. The psychological effects were not confined to those who directly experienced the pandemic. They rippled through society, affecting families and communities. Children who lost parents or caregivers faced not only emotional trauma, but also economic hardship as families struggled to rebuild in the aftermath. The stigma surrounding illness and death during the pandemic further complicated the healing process, as many felt isolated in their grief. This collective trauma would influence cultural expressions, from literature to art, as society sought to process the enormity of the loss. Writers and artists began to explore themes of mortality, resilience, and the human condition, creating works that reflected the profound impact of the pandemic on the collective psyche. Now, let us gently explore the long-term health outcomes of those exposed to the Spanish flu. Studies have shown that individuals who were in utero during the pandemic faced higher morbidity rates in later life. Picture the delicate beginnings of life where the seeds of future health are sown. The pandemic's impact on these early stages resulted in increased mortality rates from conditions such as cancer and heart disease. Yet, while the immediate health effects were profound, the long-term consequences were more modest than one might expect. The pandemic shortened life expectancy for some, but the resilience of the human spirit and body shone through, as many continued to lead full lives, despite these early challenges. Research has also indicated that the Spanish flu may have had a lasting impact on the immune systems of those who survived it. Some studies suggest that individuals who contracted the virus developed a heightened immune response to certain diseases later in life, potentially offering them some protection against other infections. This phenomenon highlights the complex interplay between pandemics and human health, where adversity can sometimes lead to unexpected resilience. Furthermore, the experience of surviving such a catastrophic event may have fostered a greater appreciation for health and wellness, leading to lifestyle changes that promoted longevity in some individuals. As we move to the socioeconomic outcomes, we find a complex tapestry of influences. Children born during the pandemic faced unique challenges, with some experiencing worse health and economic outcomes in later life. However, the evidence is mixed, suggesting that these effects were not solely due to the virus itself, but also to shifts in the socioeconomic landscape. Imagine a river, course altered by a storm, yet eventually finding a new path. In a similar way, the pandemic reshaped the socioeconomic trajectories of those it touched, but the human capacity for adaptation and growth remained strong. The economic repercussions of the Spanish flu were profound, leading to labor shortages and shifts in employment patterns. Many industries faced disruptions, and the subsequent economic downturn forced families to adapt to new realities. The pandemic also accelerated changes in public health policy, as governments recognized the need for better healthcare infrastructure and disease prevention strategies. This shift laid the groundwork for future public health initiatives, including the establishment of more robust healthcare systems and the promotion of vaccination programs. The lessons learned from the Spanish flu would later inform the global response to future pandemics, emphasizing the importance of preparedness and rapid response. In addition to public health reforms, Spanish flu also influenced social policies, particularly regarding workers' rights and labor conditions. The pandemic highlighted the vulnerabilities of essential workers, leading to movements advocating for better wages, working conditions, and job security. This period saw the rise of labor unions and increased activism, as workers sought to ensure that their rights were protected in the face of future crises. The intersection of health and labor rights became a focal point for social change, shaping the landscape of labor relations for decades to come. In conclusion, Spanish flu was a profound event that left an indelible mark on the world. Its aftermath and long-term effects on social trust, mental health, and health outcomes offer valuable lessons for the present and future. As we reflect on this chapter of history, let us carry forward the insights gained, using them to build a more resilient and compassionate world. In the gentle embrace of time, we find both healing and hope, guiding us toward a brighter tomorrow. The echoes of the past remind us that while we may face new challenges, the lessons learned from the Spanish flu can help us navigate the complexities of our modern world, fostering a spirit of unity and understanding in the face of adversity. The resilience of humanity, as demonstrated through the trials of the Spanish flu, serves as a testament to our ability to adapt and ultimately thrive in the face of adversity. Imagine a world where the gentle rustling of leaves in an ancient forest is interrupted by the whispers of a pandemic. The year is 1918, and the world is grappling with the Spanish flu, a silent storm that swept across continents, leaving profound lessons in its wake. As we explore these lessons, let us do so with a calm and reflective mind, understanding the past to better navigate our present and future. Let us first consider the socioeconomic factors that shaped the pandemic's impact. Picture communities where the disparity between rich and poor was stark, like the contrast between sunlight and shadow. The Spanish flu did not discriminate in its spread, yet its effects were felt more acutely by those in lower socioeconomic brackets. These individuals often lived in crowded conditions, where the air was thick with the sounds of daily life, and the virus found fertile ground to spread. Access to healthcare was a distant dream for many, And the lack of resources like clean water and proper sanitation made them more vulnerable. Can we imagine a world where everyone, regardless of their status, has equal access to the care they need? This is a lesson that echoes through time, reminding us of the importance of equity in health. Transitioning gently to the environmental factors, we find ourselves in cities where the air was heavy with coal smoke, a silent accomplice to the virus. Studies have shown that poor air quality exacerbated the mortality rates during the pandemic. Cities that relied on coal for energy saw higher death tolls compared to those using cleaner sources like hydroelectric power. The air, once filled with the vibrant sounds of life, became a carrier of illness. This teaches us the importance of addressing environmental issues, for the air we breathe is as vital as the water we drink. How might our world change if we prioritized clean air as a fundamental right? Moreover, the relationship between urbanization and the spread of infectious diseases cannot be overlooked. As cities expanded rapidly during the early 20th century, the infrastructure often lagged behind the population growth. This led to overcrowded living conditions, inadequate sanitation, and a lack of public health resources. The Spanish flu highlighted the vulnerabilities of urban centers, prompting a reevaluation of urban planning and public health strategies. Imagine if we could redesign our cities with health in mind, creating spaces that promote well-being and resilience against future pandemics. Now, let us turn our attention to the role of public policy and health measures. Imagine a cityscape where the usual hustle and bustle is replaced by an eerie calm, as schools, theaters, and public gatherings are closed to curb the spread of the flu. Cities that implemented such measures early on saw lower mortality rates, testament to the power of proactive policy. In St. Paul, Minnesota, the decision to close public spaces led to a significant decline in cases, a gentle reminder of the effectiveness of swift action. The use of non-pharmaceutical interventions, like mask wearing and sanitation laws, became a shield against the invisible enemy. These measures, though simple, were profound in their impact. What if we embraced these lessons with the same urgency today? The importance of early action and aggressive policy response cannot be overstated. Picture the contrasting scenes of Philadelphia and St. Louis. In Philadelphia, a parade went ahead, and the city was soon overwhelmed by the virus. Meanwhile, St. Louis canceled its parade and implemented measures swiftly, resulting in lower mortality rates. These stories, like the gentle ebb and flow of a tide, remind us of the critical nature of timing in public health responses. How might our world look if we acted with the same decisiveness in the face of modern challenges? Furthermore, the Spanish flu pandemic also underscored the significance of communication in public health. During the crisis, misinformation and fear spread as rapidly as the virus itself. Public health officials who communicated transparently and effectively were able to foster trust and compliance among the population. This lesson is particularly relevant today as we navigate an era of information overload and skepticism. Imagine a world where clear, honest communication is prioritized in health crises, ensuring that communities are well-informed and prepared to act. Finally, we arrive at the role of public health systems, which were in their infancy during the Spanish flu pandemic. The lack of preparedness was a stark lesson, as resources were often diverted to the war effort. Yet, this crisis spurred the development of more robust health systems, a legacy that continues to shape our world today. Imagine a world where public health systems are as strong and resilient as the ancient trees in a forest, providing shelter and protection to all. This vision is within our reach if we commit to investing in these vital systems. As we gently conclude our exploration, let us reflect on the lessons learned from the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. Socioeconomic status, environmental conditions, public policy, early action, and robust health systems all played a role in shaping the pandemic's impact. These lessons, like the soft glow of a lantern in the night, guide us as we navigate contemporary public health crises. By understanding and applying these insights, we can better prepare ourselves to face the challenges of today and tomorrow. Moreover, Spanish flu also taught us about the importance of global cooperation in health. The pandemic did not respect borders, and its effects were felt worldwide. This interconnectedness highlights the need for countries to work together in sharing information, resources, and strategies to combat health crises. Imagine a world where nations collaborate seamlessly, pooling their knowledge and expertise to create a healthier global community. In addition to global cooperation, the Spanish flu emphasized the necessity of investing in scientific research and public health infrastructure. The pandemic catalyzed advancements in virology and epidemiology, leading to a better understanding of how viruses spread and how to combat them. This investment in science is crucial as it equips us with the tools needed to respond to future health threats. Imagine a future where every country prioritizes research funding, ensuring that we are always a step ahead of potential pandemics. Furthermore, Spanish flu highlighted the importance of mental health during public health crises. The isolation and fear experienced by many during the pandemic had lasting effects on mental well-being. As we reflect on this, we must recognize the need for mental health support systems that can be activated during times of crisis. Imagine a world where mental health resources are readily available, ensuring that individuals can cope with the emotional toll of pandemics and other emergencies. As we carry these lessons forward, let us also consider the role of technology in public health. The Spanish flu era lacked the digital tools we have today, which can facilitate communication, data sharing, and contact tracing. Imagine a world where technology is harnessed to enhance public health responses, allowing for real-time data analysis and swift action. The integration of technology into health systems can revolutionize our approach to managing pandemics, making us more agile and responsive. In conclusion, the echoes of history remind us that while we may face new challenges, the wisdom gained from the Spanish flu can guide us in our efforts to build a more equitable, resilient, and prepared society. As we move forward, let us honor those who suffered during the pandemic by committing to a future where health is a universal right and where we are all equipped to face whatever storms may come our way. By embracing these lessons, we can create a world that not only remembers the past, but actively works towards a healthier and more just future for all. Imagine, if you will, a time when the world was just beginning to recover from the ravages of war. The air was filled with a sense of cautious optimism as nations hoped to rebuild and heal. Yet, amidst this fragile peace, a silent storm was brewing, a storm that would sweep across the globe with an unseen ferocity. This was the Spanish flu, a pandemic that would touch nearly every corner of the earth, leaving a profound mark on history. Let us begin by gently exploring the origins of this pandemic. The Spanish flu, despite its name, did not originate in Spain. The exact birthplace of the virus remains a mystery, shrouded in the mists of time. Some believe it began in the heartland of the United States, in the quiet state of Kansas, where a cook named Albert Gitchell fell ill in March of 1918. Others suggest it may have started in Europe, or even as far away as China. Imagine the soft whispers of history as experts like Claude Hannaun and Mark Humphreys weave their theories, each adding a piece to the puzzle. The truth, like a gentle breeze, eludes our grasp, leaving us to ponder the interconnectedness of our world. As we move forward, let us consider the spread of this pandemic. Picture the world in 1918, a tapestry of nations and cultures, all unknowingly connected by the threads of this invisible virus. The Spanish flu moved swiftly, like a shadow across the land, touching the lives of soldiers and civilians alike. In the spring of 1918, it quietly infiltrated military camps and towns, its presence felt but not yet fully understood. By the summer, it had reached the far corners of the earth, from the bustling streets of North Africa to the serene landscapes of Australia. The initial wave was mild, mere whisper compared to what was to come. But as the summer sun gave way to autumn, the virus mutated, becoming more virulent and deadly. The second wave crashed upon the world like a relentless tide, leaving devastation in its wake. Imagine the quiet despair of communities as they faced this invisible enemy, their lives forever changed. What made this pandemic so severe? The answer lies in a confluence of factors, each one amplifying the other. The virus itself, an H1N1 subtype, was particularly potent, affecting young adults with a severity that was both unexpected and tragic. The world was still reeling from the effects of World War I, and the movement of troops created a perfect storm for the virus to spread. Picture the crowded military camps, the soldiers weary from battle, their immune systems weakened by the harsh conditions. The virus found fertile ground in these environments, spreading rapidly and mercilessly. As we delve deeper, let us gently explore the socioeconomic consequences of the Spanish flu. The pandemic struck at the heart of society, affecting those in the prime of their lives. Imagine the quiet hum of factories, suddenly silenced as workers fell ill. In Britain, entire industries were brought to a standstill as the workforce was decimated. This labor shortage led to a shift in societal norms, as workers began to demand better conditions and wages. Picture the quiet determination of individuals standing together to create change, their voices a gentle yet persistent call for justice. The impact of the Spanish flu was felt far beyond the immediate loss of life. It left a lasting imprint on the world economy as nations struggled to rebuild with a diminished workforce. Imagine the fields left untended, the factories silent, as communities grappled with the loss of young men and women. This economic instability led to a reevaluation of labor practices and the birth of new social policies as governments sought to address the needs of their people. Moreover, pandemic also had profound effects on public health systems. The overwhelming number of cases forced governments to rethink their healthcare strategies. Hospitals, already strained from the war, were inundated with patients suffering from the flu. Imagine the scenes of makeshift hospitals set up in schools and community centers, where doctors and nurses worked tirelessly, often without adequate supplies or support. This crisis highlighted the need for better healthcare infrastructure, leading to reforms that would shape public health policy for decades to come. Finally, let us reflect on the legacy of the Spanish flu. This pandemic, though devastating, served as a catalyst for change. It highlighted the importance of public health measures and spurred advancements in medicine. Picture the quiet dedication of scientists and doctors working tirelessly to understand the virus and prevent future outbreaks. The lessons learned from the Spanish flu have been woven into the fabric of modern medicine, guiding us as we navigate new challenges. In the aftermath, the world saw the establishment of more robust health organizations, such as the World Health Organization, which aimed to coordinate international responses to health crises. The Spanish flu underscored the necessity of global cooperation in the face of pandemics, a lesson that resonates even today as we confront new health threats. As we conclude this exploration of the Spanish flu, it is essential to recognize the broader implications of this pandemic on society. The Spanish flu not only reshaped public health policies, but also influenced cultural attitudes towards illness and mortality. In the wake of the pandemic, there was a shift in how communities approached health crises. The collective trauma experienced during this time fostered a greater awareness of the importance of hygiene, vaccination, and public health education. Imagine the conversations that took place in homes and communities as families began to prioritize health and wellness in ways they had not before. Additionally, the Spanish flu had a significant impact on the arts and literature of the time. Writers and artists began to reflect on themes of loss, resilience, and the fragility of life. The pandemic inspired a wave of creative expression as individuals sought to make sense of their experiences. Picture the poignant poetry and haunting paintings that emerged from this period, capturing the essence of human suffering and the enduring spirit of hope. Furthermore, Spanish flu also played a role in shaping future pandemic responses. The lessons learned during this time laid the groundwork for how governments and health organizations would respond to subsequent health crises, including the H1N1 outbreak in 2009 and the COVID-19 pandemic. The importance of timely communication, transparency, and community engagement became evident as leaders recognized the need to build trust with the public during times of uncertainty. In reflecting on the legacy of the Spanish flu, we must also acknowledge the resilience of the human spirit. Communities came together to support one another, demonstrating compassion and solidarity in the face of adversity. Neighbors looked after each other, volunteers stepped up to provide care, and families found ways to cope with the loss of loved ones. The spirit of unity and support serves as a powerful reminder of our capacity to endure and overcome challenges. As we draw this chapter to a close, let us remember that the Spanish flu was not just a historical event. It was a profound moment in our shared human experience. It teaches us that in moments of crisis, we must unite, learn, and adapt, ensuring that we are better prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. The echoes of the past remind us that while we may face storms, we also possess the capacity to rebuild, heal, and emerge stronger than before. In conclusion, the Spanish flu was a silent storm that swept across the globe, leaving a legacy that continues to shape our world. Its origins remain a mystery, but its impact is undeniable. As we reflect on this chapter of history, let us remember the resilience of the human spirit and the quiet strength of communities coming together in the face of adversity. The Spanish flu serves as a gentle reminder of our interconnectedness and the importance of caring for one another as we journey through the tapestry of time. The lessons learned from this pandemic resonate today, urging us to remain vigilant, compassionate, and united in our efforts to safeguard public health for future generations. And with that, we conclude our exploration of the Spanish flu, its origins, and its aftermath. I hope you've enjoyed this journey through history and found it relaxing. I'd like to thank my top-tier patrons, Ander and Helena. Thank you very much for your support. If you'd like to support the channel and enjoy these videos without ads, for a better relaxation experience, you can find the link to our Patreon in the description. I hope you've learned something new today while unwinding. Until next time, good night and sweet dreams.